There you go.
Hi guys, happy Saturday. It is a fabulously hot day here in the Maritimes today. We are looking at 30 degrees Celsius plus. It's going to be hot and sticky and ew for the next 24 hours. So, needless to say, we have the house all closed up and we have the heat pump running so that we have nice cool air everywhere. So, we are comfy and cool here in the studio. We had a lot go on here this week. First and foremost, our little buddy Peanut has found a new home. We have friends of ours that live in a very country area, but they have a lot of wildlife near their area. And they actually have housed several orphan squirrels over the years. And so Peanut has moved over to their facility, a sort of rescue of sorts. So he is going to be hale and hearty and healthy living out there in the country or out in the woods in this new home with great care. So one less critter for us to worry about. Miss Dot's been her usual high energy self. She's been terrorizing the neighborhood on her wheels and terrorizing us in the house because she's discovered she's a lot more mobile than she thought she was. So now she just hauls her butt all over the house. So with or without the wheels.
No kidding.
She's keeping us occupied.
Holy, look at all the paintbrushes.
Oh my goodness. Lots of people joining us today. We're going to be playing with some mixed media today. We're going to do mixed media orchids, which is going to involve some paper and some stamps and some stencils and lots of color, whether it's fluid acrylics or Americana, really doesn't matter because we're just going to have some fun with it. The pattern actually also has an ornament in it. So we're also going to finish that one too while we're at it, just so you can see how it's done. It's a fun one. I enjoy doing this type of thing. It's very relaxed. It's, no rules. You can do whatever your heart desires when it comes to this.
She got a bunch of goodies today, or this week.
Yeah, I did.
Tons of goodies
I got tons of goodies this week.
I got cookies.
He got cookies because, he's spoiled. I got this really cool necklace. It was the late Mother's Day gift from...
Took forever to get here.
It took forever to get here, but he knows that I love honeybees and anything to do with honey, and bees. So there is my necklace. Isn't that pretty? I'm quite pleased with that. Got a goodie box from a very old, very dear friend, Karen Jones. She's usually watching every Saturday. Her and I have known each other
Before I was born?
Well, close. You
Close.
were little.
I was little.
So, I bet it's been more than 30 years. And so I got a box this week from her. Great big bag of her world famous ginger snaps. They're so good, of which there is only one left in the bag.
I could have ate it last night, but
There's one cookie left in that bag, and that bag was full. So,
it's gone now.
tons of cookies. She also turned her hand to making me a beautiful table runner. Hand crocheted. It's absolutely gorgeous. So it's going to get blocked this weekend, and then it'll go into use in my dining room because it's a beautiful piece. And then, of course, she can't just, do that. She sent me this. You got to see this guy. He is too funny. Check him out. I posted him on my Facebook page. Some of you may not have seen him. I think this little guy needs a name. So
Let's see what the chat says.
I'm thinking that we should have a little contest. And we'll pick a name of it. This thing is too cute. So this is just a little art gnome, whatever. He's adorable.
Gnomey.
Anyway, so he's going to be populating my studio from this point on because he's just too cute for words. So I think we need to have a contest to name him. So yeah, throw up some really great names. Throw your best name at us and stick it in the comments section.
Ross.
Ross? Somebody said Bob. We already have a Bob.
We have Bob.
We have a Bob. This is Bob.
There's Bob.
Yeah. For those of you that are part of the membership program, Renee added two.
Oh, yes.
He added two new, what do you call them? Emojis.
Yes.
For you. Yeah, he's got, one is a running
Bob.
Bob and a smiling Bob.
No.
So, yeah. I thought it was pretty funny. So, yeah, we have a Bob. And what else this week other than
Blues artist?
blues? Oh, that's a good one.
Artie?
Blues artist Artie. There's going to be some fun names. And everybody on that. Look at all the paintbrushes going on that commentary.
Is that Bob's uncle?
Bob's uncle.
Bob's uncle. Bob's uncle. Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob. Oh my gosh.
Oh, they
That was
figured out that
painful.
Bob's got emojis now.
Oh, there they go with the emojis. Too funny. First video for the membership group went up yesterday.
Yes.
And I know some of you were having trouble getting it. If you're registered, they have your email address. So every time we update that community thing, you should be getting an email with it as long as your notifications are on. So you have to make sure those notifications are on. But we are duplicating everything and putting it into the Facebook group as well. If you are not on my friends list, send me a friend request on Facebook and we'll add you to the page.
Oh, there's Karen Jones.
We'll send you an ad for that. What else happened this week? Oh, the bags. Want to hand me one of those bags?
The bags.
So yeah, I mean, we are officially sold out of those, but
They didn't last long.
I added more to the website because our shipment should be here Tuesday. These are really cool. These are an oversized shopping bag, and it has the line drawings printed right on and on both sides. They're really quite a nice quality. I was rather impressed with them when I got them. So we got those in, but I ordered in the crown prints too, the skull with the crown.
Oh, yeah?
So we've got more of those coming. They are posted on the website, so you can order, but they won't ship until probably Wednesday. But
And
Yeah.
there's Sandy McTeer and Linda Cifranco.
hi, Sandy. Hi, Linda. How
Your-
are you?
Your
Sandy,
moderators are here.
My moderators are here. Sandy, feels like I haven't talked to you in a year.
Did you even call her this week?
No, we've both been so busy. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I haven't even talked to I talked to Deb for a little bit this week, but I haven't talked to Sandy. So yeah, it's been a crazy week. So you guys were amazing last weekend. The launch, you guys had me in tears most of the weekend. The launch of the paid membership group. I honestly, I was going to be excited if I got 25 or 30 people to come and join me and participate in this adventure or journey, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a journey because we're going to start at one place and end up someplace totally different.
Yeah.
And, but it ended up 125 of you decided to join the madness. I'm absolutely blown away by that, but we're going to have so much fun. I can promise you we're going to have so much fun. The first one went up, first video for the paid membership group went up yesterday. It was on values, creating values and how they work and how to use them to your benefit. So that video is up. If you did not get a chance to download the PDF, you can do that on the group Facebook page because it is posted there as well. So, and if you are not on the group, hit me up with a friend request on Facebook and we'll clear you and then we will add you to the group page so that you can have access to that. So links to the video, links to any of the printed material that you're going to need, patterns, all the other stuff. So we're going to duplicate it. It'll be in the community, but we'll also put it up on the Facebook page. If you're really having trouble, just quickly send me a message. I will make sure that you get what you're supposed to have. And
I'm not too familiar with Android phones.
yeah, no, we're not. The one thing we do know is that the YouTube app
Yes.
does not have access to the community yet. They have to update that. So if you're having issues with that, it's probably because of the app not, like we don't have any control over that. So we are trying to make sure that everybody gets what they need and we're trying to solve a few problems. One problem that people are having is that they are, if they logged in on their iPad and then they go to a different one, part of the issue is that app. So certain features are not available on that app. The other thing we discovered is that certain things are not available in certain countries, certain places. So, like I said, we're trying very hard to make sure that everybody gets what you're supposed to have. So if you're really having trouble, don't be afraid to send me a message and let me know. We will make sure that if we have to, we'll email everything to you, but we will make sure that you get what you're supposed to have.
The emojis are really easy. I try to keep them as simple as possible. So you just go colon the emoji you want. So if you want the gold paintbrush, you type gold and then another colon.
Yeah, they're figuring it out.
Yeah, if you want the dot's head, you type colon dot DOTT colon, and it should give you that emoji. Same with the bob. Bob is colon bob colon. You'll get the running bob.
Yep.
If you want happy bob, type happy bob with the colons on either end. Should work.
Should work.
Should. I found them. Oh, Linda found them. Yay! Good.
So we're going to tackle mixed media orchids today. This one is really fun because this one is loose. It's easy.
Show them.
Yeah, it's a pretty piece. I think it's fun.
Colorful.
And it's colorful. So we're going to get started on that. And we're going to have some fun today.
I should clarify, it's for members only.
Yeah.
The emojis are only available to members.
Yeah.
Sorry. We got a bunch of people that aren't members
I
trying
can't
to.
get it. It's a perk.
It's a perk.
It's a perk. I think I'm ready to get started. How about you?
Boop. There you go.
Okay. So this is the one we're going to tackle today. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing this one because
They're seeing half of it.
it's, yeah. There.
Ta-da!
This one's a lot of fun because it's not, we're not worried about realism. We're not worried about perfection. We're just going to have a little bit of fun with it. So it's bright, it's colorful. We're going to play with some stamps. We're going to play with some stencils. Going to play with a little gesso. We're going to have some fun with this. And it's going to look really pretty when we're done. Now in the pattern, there's actually two projects. You have this big one, and then there's also a line drawing that uses the same techniques for this ornament, this postage stamp ornament. And it's surprisingly easy, and you can just translate the techniques from this larger surface onto the smaller one, and it works out really well. So we're going to do that as well. So to get started, I started with just a coat of warm white or a little bit of gesso on my surface. And I'm going to create a little bit of texture, and I'm going to do that with a tiny amount of gesso on my palette knife. And this is a really thin and sketchy, patchy application. I don't need a ton on here. I'm just creating a little bit of texture to break up the smooth background. And Bob's trying to get his 5 minutes of fame here.
Yeah.
So it is light and it is very, very thin. I am not putting a ton of this on here because if I put it on too thick, it'll take forever to dry. That would not do. So literally lay some on, scrape some off, just so that I get a little bit of tooth and texture back there. And it is very thin. Now I'm going to use that. Whoopsie daisy. Am I all tangled up on here? Okay. So I'm just going to use my heat gun to dry this really quick. It is very thin, so it's not going to take too long.
Run, Bob, run.
Oh, see, you give them new toys to play with.
Can you use clear gesso if you don't have white gesso?
Absolutely. It is all we are creating. You can use black gesso for this if you want to. You can just paint right over it. It's not a big deal. I used white because my background is white. That's all.
Yeah. You're going to be using a lot of transparent colors. That's why you're using white.
Exactly. That's why I use the white. But there's nothing to say that you can't use a black gesso or clear gesso, create the texture, and then roll a coat of white paint over top of it.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Done like dinner.
It'll take you a few coats if you use black gesso.
Yeah. That's the downside. But the upside is that you get all this yummy texture.
Well,
So you can do this with just texture mediums. It doesn't have to be
okay.
gesso. You know, any texture medium will do this. If you've got the clear gel medium, that'll work.
what about that sandy stuff?
That one make it a little too coarse, I think.
Yeah.
But just standard, even modeling paste will work.
What is that sandy stuff called?
Texture sand.
Texture sand. That one.
So that's dry already. So you know that that's a really thin application. Now, I was sitting here thinking that it needed something with a little more interest. So it occurred to me
Oh,
that
comes
perhaps,
the box of goodies.
yes, that perhaps we need, oh, crud, the stencil I want is not in there.
I have a jar of clear gesso along with white, but I have no idea why I got clear. Why the clear? Why I
Hey,
got
clear is a good stuff. Clear gesso is great stuff.
It could be useful.
It is.
You can use it for
Any place that you want to seal a surface, like prepare a surface to take paint, to create textures, it works just fine. Especially with clear, you're going to paint over it most of the time anyway. So it really doesn't matter. Ah, that's the one I was looking for. Okay.
I was about to ask sandy stuff.
Sandy uses the clear gesso quite a bit. I use whatever I have. So
Sandy stuff. It's texture sand.
yeah, texture sand. Yeah. I'm going to use this stencil. I wanted to create something a little dimensional interest in the background for this. I think it's going to come down into this corner here. Yeah, right there. Methinks that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to take my stencil and a little bit of gesso.
Oh, if you put colored acrylics in clear gesso, does it take a translucent coating or opaque coating?
It depends on the paint.
Yeah.
If the paint is opaque, then it'll be more opaque. If you use fluid acrylics, it'll be transparent.
It'll be tinted.
Tinted, yeah, exactly. So I've positioned my stencil onto the corner of this. I'm going to just put a thin layer of gesso over top of my stencil. I'm not pressing hard because I don't want to force it under the stencil. I want a clean relief. So I'm just laying it on nice and smooth. And then I'm going to scrape away the excess. Like so.
Is that sandy stuff?
Nope, this is just the gesso.
Oh.
So,
What's the difference of base coating with black gesso or lamp black?
black gesso
It's thick.
is super thick, and it really covers. It'll also fill in a number of little flaws and whatnot in your surface, but it leaves you with a nice uniform surface in which to paint over. So I'm going to hold my stencil down in one corner, and I'm going to peel it back like so. So it leaves a nice relief on the surface that is no thicker than that stencil. So when you look at this flat on, it doesn't look all that great.
It'll show up.
You can see
looks
it.
good.
But when you stand it up and those bits cast a shadow, then that's when you really see the dimension that you can create. I love all the little flaws and whatnot that you see in there. It just makes things so much more interesting. So you could do this 1 or 2 times if you wanted to. I like the idea of just one because I don't want this to be overpowering. So I'm going to dry that real quick.
Where was it? Where I lost it.
Did someone have a question? I love that this gesso dries so quick.
So, all the winners from last Saturday,
Yep,
we got your prizes out being shipped yesterday.
yep,
They're on their way.
yep. We had quite a lot to ship this week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So yes, all of the prizes went out on Friday.
Yeah.
We finally got everything packed up and out of here.
Yeah. We also finally got all the Addresses.
Yeah, we had a little time getting all the addresses together, but we finally got them all.
Yeah.
So you guys can expect that in the next week or so if you're in the...
Unless you're Julie Crosby.
Unless you're Julie Crosby.
It might be a month or two.
Well, no, the last one got to her fairly quick.
Yeah?
Yeah, her last parcel got to her fairly quick.
Okay.
So we try to ship. We ship out of here 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So orders that come in on Monday don't ship until Wednesday, and anything that comes in on Tuesday, we try to get it out on Wednesday. But yeah, we ship 3 days a week. There we go.
What is the difference? Oh, speaking of Julie Crosby, there she is. What is the difference between media gesso, chalky gesso?
Chalky gesso is ultra matte. The media gesso is a little thicker because we're using it for a variety of things. And then standard gesso, we do have, there's a variety of gessos on the market. They all perform the same function. What the difference is what you want it to do. I love the chalky gesso for preparing canvases because, man alive, what a beautiful surface to paint on. I love the media gesso because it is thicker and I can use it for a variety of things like putting textures and whatnot on. It's particularly good for paper surfaces like journal pages and whatnot because of its viscosity, because of that thickness. It works beautifully on it. But the reason this is my favorite is because it will retain texture. I can create all sorts of interesting textured effects with it. And that's one of the reasons that I like it so much, because it sort of kills two birds with one stone. It preps my surface and creates the textures that I want in one fell swoop. So that's why I like this one. If I'm working on canvas, I love chalky gesso. I love that stuff. In black and in white, I like both because they cover so beautifully.
Apparently, they only have chalky gesso available in the UK at the moment.
At the moment. Chalky gesso is fabulous.
Flexible gesso.
Yep. If you can't get a thicker gesso, just grab a little bit of any texture medium, throw a little white paint in it. You're good to go.
I think I should put a gesso counter. How many times are we going to mention gesso in live?
Gesso, gesso, gesso.
Just a ticker.
Dealing with a whole bunch of artists.
Tick, 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 tick.
So I chose to work with some fluid acrylics for this today. But I'm also going to talk about which colors that you can use out of the Americanas if you don't have the fluid acrylic. I know they're really hard to get. They're my favorite paint. I absolutely love the vibrancy of them. The colors are fantastic. So we're going to start by adding some color to this board. But first, let's add some more texture. I want some visuals. I'm going to
You should do like a fossil thing. You take the butterfly and you do it in the gesso.
Yeah, you can do
like
that with the
and
foam
imprint
stamps.
it. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool.
Yep. Now, Deb got these in. Love.
But
Deb's got these up on
Flutterby's.
her website. Flutterby, butterflies.
Where's Painting with
Butterflies
Deb?
too, they flutterby.
Where's Painting with Deb? Painting with Deb. There's our website.
Yeah, Deb has these Stampendous butterflies up on her website. Absolutely love these. I think I've got 5 or 6 sets. They're amazing. And I was a little bit obsessed with butterflies this week. Don't know why. So I think I'm going to use a butterfly in my background.
And lemons.
Yes, I was a little obsessed with lemons this week. And my grunge set, because that's my all-time favorite stamp set, my grunge set. And a vintage newt.
Saying gesso 3 times like saying Beetlejuice.
It could be.
It could be.
Yep.
You never know.
The other stamp that I'm obsessed with this week is this one. This is a bumblebee stamp. I found this in the dollar section. You know, there's such a bins they have at the Michael store.
Oh, yeah.
They have them at Joann's too. When you first walk in the door, there's always these bins that are, full of inexpensive items. I found this one in there. It has no manufacturer marked on it. I have no clue who makes it, but it's a really nice bumblebee.
Is Tracy doing this on a board or canvas? Actually, it's a surface from her website, I believe.
Yeah, this one is just a cradle, an artist's cradle.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of Baltic birch on a pine frame. But you could do this on watercolor paper. You could do this on a journal page. I mean, you could do this on almost anything. If you want to pop it onto a canvas if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's an easy one to do.
You'd have to go heavy with the gesso. Oh, mind you, all the canvases now are covered
Yeah,
in
they're
gesso already.
pre-primed. Yeah. So you don't have to do a whole lot. Maybe add a little texture. That's about it.
Yeah.
But, come to that, you could use paper if you wanted to. So
Yeah.
I've got my vintage note, because you know I'm going to use that one because it's my favorite. And my grunge stamp, another favorite. I love this because of all of these little odd bits. And it's got crackle. Love that. Now I'm debating butterfly or bumblebee. Butterfly.
Didn't get anybody to have a chance to
No.
respond to that. It's a butterfly.
It's the butterfly.
Should it be a bumblebee or a butterfly? Butterfly it is.
Yeah, I'm a flat squirrel today.
You're not a flat.
I'm not flat squirrel. I was decisive.
Yeah. She was decisive in her decision.
Yeah, more or less. The other thing I'm going to use today, I love alphabet stamps. You can find these at Michael's in any size. I use the itty bitty ones too, the little tiny ones. I think I have a set in here somewhere.
Quickest debate I ever saw.
Sorry. And like these little things, you can get these at Michael's, the Craft Start, these little alphabet sets. They're only a couple of bucks. You get them out of those bins. These are fantastic because you can use them for a variety of things, and I love these.
For all the letters there?
If, you put a tag on a teacup, you can, just use the little stamps. So having them in a couple of different sizes is handy. I got these ones. These are recollections. So these ones came from Michael's too. So those are fun to play with. And I've come to the conclusion that I own far too many stamps.
Do you?
Do
you?
Do I? Did you look in the bin over there? I have 3 boxes
Of
full
stamps.
Of stamps. 3.
Never mind stencils.
Yeah, well, stencils, we won't go there.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah,
There's a bin under my desk. There's a bin over there with all the M2s.
There's a bin up there.
There's a bin up there. There's a bin in the back room.
Yeah, we have lots of stencils.
And then there's overstock.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Not really.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. So 2 ways you can do this. We're going to use, I'm going to use my brayer because I really like working with the paint. And I've been using the paint a lot more simply because these things are rare as hen's teeth. This solvent-based ink from Staves On, although it's awesome, right now it's really hard to get in black. You can get it in a variety of different colors, but black is perhaps the most popular. So you could do this with a stamp pad in the Stays On, or you can do it with a brayer and some paint. And I'm going to use paint for these. I just gotta find my black paint. There we go.
Big bottle.
Big bottle. BAB. Big ass bottle. So a little bit of black paint.
Wouldn't it be BBAB?
No, big ass bottle. BAB. So which one? I'm going to start with this. I like this one. I like this lacy one right here. So I'm going to roll.
Can you
with
ever
my
have too
brayer.
many stamps?
No, you can't.
Or as Lightning McQueen would say, float like a Cadillac and sting like a Beamer.
Somebody's been watching that Cars. That's a family favorite here.
Karen Jones, going to Michael's today. Wish I had my buddy tagging along with me.
Yeah, then she gripes at me about how much money she spent because of me. So
Too many, but never the right one.
I know, isn't that the truth? So I'm roll this with black paint. This is the Vintage Note. Probably my favorite all-time stamp. I just like the lettering thing, the script. Oops, whee, dropped it. Now the fun part. Don't forget this. Don't try to work around this. Just work right over it.
You're gonna paint it anyway.
We're gonna add color to it anyway, so not a big deal. But I love that.
Are you using vintage note?
Vintage note.
Yes, of course.
And the crackle. I like the crackle one.
Stood in front of Michael's selection and couldn't decide on size. Went home with no ABC stamps.
I just, if they're the inexpensive ones, I grab a couple of whatever.
For Canadian painters, I have had great luck with obtaining supplies, including fluid acrylics from Paint for Joy in St. Albert, Alberta.
Yeah, that's Carol Maxwell's shop.
Go check him out.
Paint, number 4, joy.ca.
Jessica, I have a little here and there, but I want a lot here and there.
I know. I can't, some days I can't make a decision to save my soul when it comes to where I'm putting things or what I'm putting.
Sue Braun, I found some nice stamps at Hobby Lobby at half off. Bought
Ooh.
4 for under $20.
Nice. That's a
Bargain.
steal. I'm looking forward to when the border opens, I can go to Bangor because there's a Hobby Lobby there.
Of course.
And there's a Joann's.
Do we have to go to Edmundston in order to do that?
No,
Or-
we can do that through St. Stephen. It's faster.
Oh, yeah. Why is it?
It's faster. It's only an hour and a half to the St. Stephen.
Oh, yeah. Edmundston is almost 2 hours, 2.5 hours,
3.
depending on how you drive.
Yeah. Okay, 2 hours if it's you.
Got there in an hour and 45 minutes on the motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I just found a shortcut.
Uh-huh. I'm sure.
Yeah, a shortcut between the throttle.
Yeah. So I got a butterfly. Now I'm going to decide where to put it. When I'm doing this, I don't really worry about where the line drawing is going to be positioned. I'm just putting it on. It's becoming part of the background, not a feature. So I'm going to roll some paint onto our flutterby.
Tis funky.
And I'm thinking it's going right there.
I have to tell you both how much I have learned this week. Crazy.
There we go.
Here in Cincinnati.
So I've used stamps and a little bit of acrylic paint and my little mini brayer. Love this thing. It's my little Tim Holtz mini brayer. We still have some of those on the website, don't we?
A check. We
I love my mini brayer. This is just the best thing since cookies. Seriously?
we have we have one left in stock.
Wow. Okay.
So if you want a brayer,
So I'm
Order
just
it
going to
quick.
dry this real quick. I think Sandy has this heated tool back on her website.
does she?
I think so. They are awesome.
And if you need Sandy's website,
I love this thing because
where is it? There you go.
it's quiet. I don't have to yell to talk over it.
No,
You know.
your other one was
The other one sounded like a jet taking off.
sounded like a jet taking off, and it caught fire, didn't it?
Not quite. It did smoke heavily. So there, we've got our stamp in place. Now I like to distress this. I know. I'm crazy that
I
way.
saw it said out this morning for the brayer. Oh, okay. So somebody already ordered it.
Oh, okay.
So that one's theirs.
That little brayer is the cat's meow. Where?
She also didn't know it came apart.
Yes. Like, really? I'm damn glad there's no buses in the area. It's like, I've been using these things for years, and I was watching Sandy's live one afternoon. That's when I learned that they come apart. Like that you can take it apart to wash it. I have left this thing together for years because I had no idea that it would come apart. Yeah, so I'm going to thank Sandy for that one. I just stand there watching this live, and I thought to myself,
What?
well, self, you're an idiot. Yeah,
When she
some
is
days the
headed
lights
for
are on.
Hobby Lobby, I think she forgot about speed and full steam ahead.
I love Hobby Lobby.
I hit Joann's a few weeks ago in Bangor. Almost spent $200. Said to myself that there are no Hobby Lobby. Nope. Ended up going there another $100. No self-control.
Yep. So now that this paint's dry, I'm going to take my sanding sponge and I'm just going to distress this a little bit. Now, the reason I'm distressing, because remember this piece down here with that relief on there? I want to distress that a little bit. I just want to love it.
How do you store stamps? Just to toss them in boxes?
I have mine separated according to manufacturer. So all the Stampenda stamps are in one bin. The IOD stamps are in another bin. My Tim Holtz ones are in another bin.
Some of them are still in their packaging.
Some are still in their packaging if I was smart enough to keep the packaging. Yep. Okay, so I sanded this a little bit because I was finding it a little dark.
I didn't know they came apart either.
Yep, lights are on, nobody's home. So the other thing I like doing, I like to add a word into things. Oops. So I'm going to, really, trying to take them out one at a time is not going to work. Oh.
What'd you do?
I'm just looking for letters. R.
F.
C.
U.
He's evil and must die.
S. A.
I.
T.
There's the I. I need a D and an S. D, D, D. D. S. There we go. Orchids. Now, you could put in whatever you wanted. I'm just going to go with the word orchid.
Why not?
Because that works for me. And I'm going to put the rest of these stamps away.
Renee, you're a bad boy.
Oh, you've no idea. He's the devil's spawn.
It's Satan.
It's Satan, not Satan. Okay. Oh my gosh.
It's not Beelzebub.
No.
It's Beelzebub.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Self-control, Renee?
None.
None. Zero.
Yeah.
I worked a night shift last night, so
He's a little punchy.
I'm a little punchy.
The nerve of some people's children.
The nerve. Who do you think you get it from?
I don't know. Get it from your
Why am I
children.
talking in the third person?
I don't know. So I'm just going to stamp the word orchid. O.
Don't let Renee get his hands on those alphabet stamps. Oh, there's more than enough to get my hands on.
C. H. Notice I'm not worrying about whether or not these are straight.
Can only imagine the messages Renee left as a child with those magnetic letters on the fridge. The problem is I can't spell.
Which makes it very entertaining, I might add.
Yeah. Me trying to put Satan was here turns out to be Stan was there.
There. So I just used the stamp pad real quick. You could use the paint too, but I just used the stamp pad real quick to put the word orchids in there. You could do it once, twice, 5 times, whatever blows your hair back.
Coffee.
And you can use whatever word you want. If you have a favorite word that inspires you, stick that in there. I just went with orchids because, well, you know, orchids.
They got a kick out of the Beelzebub.
The Beelzebub, yeah. I want to subdue this just a little. I'm going to take a little bit of white paint.
He was too much as a child? Oh, that was a pain. No, I wouldn't say it was a pain.
Well, you were an utter angel.
Utter angel?
You were an utter angel. You were
Like a fallen angel? Or
No. Like the real deal. Cherub.
cherub?
You know, he was this white-haired blonde, great big green eyes, always smiling, always happy, easygoing little boy. And then he turned 2.
Hi.
He turned into Damien.
Put the dog down, Damien.
Devil spawn. So I'm going to take just a wash of white. I just want to subdue that black a little bit. I don't want to bury it completely. I just want to subdue it a little. The reason for this is that I don't want this background to be the feature. I don't want it to come screaming out at you. So I'm just putting a wash of thinned warm white over top. You can use any brush you want for this. I just grabbed one of my fugly brushes, that's all. I'm just going to put a layer over top of it. And all it does is just, it's like, remember when we did the black backgrounds with the gold stamping and the white stamping? You just want to subdue it a little bit. Don't want to get rid of it, but you want to knock it back just a little bit. So that's what this white is going to do. It's just going to subdue it a little bit. And then we're going to dry it. I love this type of thing. I just think it's fun and it's interesting, and you can do whatever your heart desires. If you wanted to add a little bit of gold leaf to your background, now would be a good time to do it. You could do that with a stamp or a stencil. There's all kinds of fun things you can do, and it doesn't really matter what order you do them in. If you're using a more opaque paint, like the Americana as opposed to the fluid acrylics, you could do all your color first and then do your stamping. So there's nothing to say that you have to do anything in a specific order. But we are just about ready to start adding some color to that background. And we're going to have some fun with this. I am a huge fan of lots of color. I like vibrant. So we're going to use some fluid acrylics for this. And as I go, I'll tell you which colors you can use to substitute. But I'm going to start with my cobalt teal hue because it's my Bahama blue. I love this color. I think it's one of my favorites. I use this one a lot. So, high-tech applicator. We're going to use a little bit of shop towel to create a high-tech applicator for this. Because we're going to rub some color in. You can do this with a brush too if you want, but we're going to use a high-tech applicator because I just feel like it. High-tech applicator. Take a piece of shop towel, tear it into 4 pieces, scrunch one up, tuck it inside one of the others. Voila! High-tech applicator. And we're going to get that wet just with a little bit of water or the fast-drying glaze, either or. You don't need, it doesn't matter which. And you're going to pick up a little bit of that cobalt teal. Oh, let's get some more. And we're going to rub that in circular fashion until we get a nice little patch of blue. And we're going to dry that. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. We are not looking for perfect edges or blending. It doesn't matter for this one. Those things are unimportant for this. And I'm going to take a little more color because I want this to be a little bit brighter. Woohoo! Love this color. There we go. And I had dioxazine purple here somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. It's on my spinny thing. So we have a little bit of Diox purple, because I do like my Diox. And I pick up a little of that. This color is so strong. It is such a potent purple, but I love it. So gorgeous. Now, remember, this is where I have that stenciled element down in that corner. So I'm going to aggressively apply the color in all directions. I'm making sure I go in a circular fashion and changing directions frequently. The reason for that is that I want that color to get down in and around that raised element that we put in there, so that when I buff, look what happens. So it's taking the bulk of the color off the top of that textured element, and so it pops up. Now I'm going to turn my applicator inside out, find a relatively clean spot, and get it wet again. And I'm thinking we need a green. Let's go with magenta. Primary magenta. Love primary magenta.
Missed a lot.
See, you left for what, 2 minutes.
2 minutes and I missed everything.
So I'm putting in a little bit of primary magenta, and I'm letting that color overlap with purple.
What does that mean? It's dilute down quite a bit.
It just means that I've taken more water than paint.
Ah, yeah.
It's a very transparent wash of color.
That was Kurt Brewer. I'm thinking that's Mrs. Brewer. We sent you a package not too long ago.
See if I can get some paint out of this bottle. Oh my gosh.
Do you have a pattern for the daffodils and the teapot? Daffodils and teapot. Yes, I think she does.
Nope.
No?
Nope. Nope.
Really?
Not yet.
Not yet? Not yet.
Not yet. And then I'm going to repeat that. This time I'm using that orange. Which orange did I grab?
Oh, never mind. That answered my question. Well, she answered again. So.
Cadmium orange this time. That bright orange. Love this orange. Nice part is I've got that red on there. I need some diarylide. We need some yellow. I love this yellow. It's so hot. Now, diarylide yellow. If you're looking for an Americana substitution, it will be saffron yellow. You want a substitution for the cobalt teal hue, Bahama blue. A substitution for the primary magenta, you can use Tuscan red or alizarin crimson. Dioxazine purple, you can use dioxazine purple in the Americana. Cadmium orange, you can use orange flame. That will work just fine. Okay, here I am, way over here. Hello. So cadmium orange is orange flame.
Wrong camera.
Dioxazine purple, dioxazine. Primary magenta, you can use Tuscan red. Cobalt teal hue, you can use Bahama blue. Diarylide yellow, you can use saffron yellow.
Where was it? I could not find the media fluid acrylics, but I found the Tri-Art liquid acrylics. Please tell me they're roughly the same.
I'm not familiar with Tri-Art's liquid acrylics, so I couldn't say.
I was wondering how many bars of soap your mom had to use. Not sure if you will understand language.
I have to tell you, we didn't have too many issues with foul language.
Not until I joined the army.
Not until he joined the military. By then, I would just, cuff them in the back of the head and say, "Hey, field mouth."
Yeah.
And then they would watch their P's and Q's. But no, as a kid, he was pretty good. Just if there's a line.
Where do you get your shop towels at?
Oh, honestly, I get my shop towels at Costco. I buy like 5 million rolls at one time. So I've got that orange and that yellow. I've got a blank spot here in the middle. What am I going to put in there?
Oh, there's Sheila Landry.
Hey, Sheila.
Bet she's been busy.
She has been busy. She finally came out for air, methinks. So there's the green. When that diarylite overlaps that cobalt teal hue, look at the green you get. That is a gorgeous green. So, but we still need to have a bit of green in there. So I'm going to pull a little bit of that green gold. If you don't have the green gold, grab some olive green or any one of those high yellow greens will work just fine for that. And I'm going to pull a little of that green in the center here.
I've been dying to have that teapot pattern for so long. I have the daffodils in teacup. I love the teapots.
Well, then we'll have to make sure that we get onto that.
What's the best way to clean paint from rubber stamps if you're...
I hit mine with a little hand sanitizer.
There you go. I get my shop towels out of the hubby's garage.
Hubby gets his out of my studio. So I'm going back in with a second layer of color because I want a little more intensity in there. I love the colors bright, so I have no problem going back in with a little more.
I had 2 sons that served in the military. They said they had to work on their language before they came home. When it was time to go home. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. It's something that sometimes you need a physical reminder.
Yep.
That you're at home.
Yep. That pop in the back of the head was usually enough for him.
Yeah. It's like a reset button. The pattern with birds are really something I want to try. I love the chickadees.
I love chickadees.
Why does everybody like chickadees?
They're adorable.
They are an adorable bird. Yes, they're cute. I understand that. But they're little evil spawns of...
Satan?
Satan. They're demons.
There we go. So look what that second coat does for this. Look at how those colors just pop. Love it.
Keith knows, hands off my shop towels.
Get your own. That's what that is.
Is the paint in the Mr. bottle the same as the fluid acrylics in the regular bottles?
It has the same resins in it. It's just very, very thin. Lots of pigment though, because the colors are really intense.
You guys have shops? I have a kitchen and a living room and a spare bedroom and a basement. They're all my craft areas.
Yeah.
Spawns of Stan.
Stan, yes. See, somebody was paying attention.
Blue jays are evil and mean. Yes, they
yes,
are.
They are. Related to the crow and the raven.
Yeah.
So there is my colored background. I love this. So fun.
Actually, another bird that is along the same lines as the chickadee that's evil as sin and will attack you, unlike chickadees, are cardinals.
Yes, cardinals can be, they're territorial. That's why. So I wanted to punch up something in here, so I'm going to grab a little, this is quinacridone violet. This is one of those in-your-face, I don't know how to describe this color. It's cross between a primary magenta and a purple.
Which one is that?
Quinacridone magenta. This
Spelt with a Q.
It's spelt with a Q. I love this color, but I want to, I just want to show you how vibrant this color is because it's like in your face. I love this tone. It's a cross between, you know, that red, like a red and a purple. So it's got a high, such a pretty color. By itself, it's pretty intense. But because it's transparent, I can pop a little over top of other colors without too much issue. But that is quinacridone violet.
What would happen if you added a metallic to these acrylics?
You get a pearlescent. Which is something we're going to talk about that.
Are we?
Yeah. because there's some really cool stuff you can do with that.
Because if I could
I
put
can
like
smell
a,
the smoke from here.
because if I could put like a, I don't know, a double-aught gauge metallic in there, spray that on Dad's bike,
I'd be too purple.
it'd be too purple.
Yeah. There we go.
That'd be a wicked color.
Isn't that an awesome colored background? I love that.
Wow, took us an hour to do the background.
Oh no, we've been doing a lot of gabbing.
It's okay. Whoa, okay. Chat decided to go haywire. Hummingbirds will dive bomb you all the time. Love chickadees, just not in the morning. Yes, I agree.
Dots on the move.
Cardinals are mean. Especially when they have chosen to build their nest in your backyard.
They're territorial.
Oh, I gotta go take care of a dog.
So I'm going to transfer my line drawing on here. I'm going to move mine up a little bit, which means I'm just going to elongate that a little bit. So I'm going to tape that in place. I'm going to show you something. This is an easy little technique. So I'm just going to, I'm using the top of the page, top of the surface and the top of the page to make sure my line drawing is nice and straight. And I'm using that left-hand edge of the canvas and the page. I'm going to tape this in place right here and tape it down. And I'm going to trace it on using the black graphite. Now, when I trace it, I want this stem to be a lot longer than it is, like about ½ an inch longer. So I'm going to put my stem in, and then I'm going to stop right there. Comme ça. And I'll trace the flowers, but I'm not going to trace on the leaves yet. So, and I'm just going to do this roughly. I'm not going to worry too much about perfection.
What's smoking? Renee's brain was smoking. Yup. Has a tendency to do that.
He had an idea. I could smell the smoke. So I'm going to just quickly trace my flowers on. So that when I go to trace my leaves on, I'm going to move my paper down to the bottom of the page. Then I can elongate the stem and then trace my leaves in.
Is there a difference between the blue and green painter's tape? Yes.
Yes, there is.
The type of adhesive.
Yep. The green painter's tape has a water-activated adhesive in it so that it prevents the paint from bleeding underneath it, and it is ideal for things like latex paint. And it's a vinyl-backed tape as opposed to a paper-backed tape, so, and it's resistant to high levels of moisture so that you can use it with latex or water-based paints. Most painter's tapes that you get out there, the ones that you buy at dollar stores and at, you know, home improvement centers, are paper-backed tapes, and those are designed for oil-based paints. And they have a slightly different adhesive in them. The two tapes that I use the most, that I recommend the most, one is 3M's blue safe release tape. It means that it also has a water-based adhesive in it. And it's called safe release because the adhesive can be used safely over top of fresh paint without pulling off the surface. So it's ideal for that.
So stuff that has already been flashed and not cured.
And not cured, yeah. So it gives you a little time to work. So I've got my orchids transferred on. Remember our stem there? I'm going to move my line drawing now down to the bottom of the page. And again, I'm using that left-hand edge as my guide. Tape it back in place.
I've been painting wrong all this time.
Now I'm going to trace my leaves like so.
think the green tape is frog tape.
Yep, frog tape. It is, as I said, it's a moisture activated. So the minute something with high moisture content hits it, the adhesive swells at the edges of the tape. And then it prevents the paint from bleeding underneath the surface. So I've got my leaves transferred on, and now I can elongate my stem to fit. Ta-da!
I have a bit of a trick for textured surfaces in painter's tape,
What's that?
and it involves your brayer.
Oh yeah.
So you don't get that bleeding underneath, and you get a nice crisp line.
Yep.
Use the brayer to push down your tape so it doesn't, it gets in all those old nooks and crannies of this.
Burnishing your tape.
Yep, burnishing your tape. But be very careful peeling it off, because if it's cured underneath, or if it's flashed, sorry.
Yeah. Which
Then
just
hasn't
means
cured.
dry to the touch.
Yeah. If it's
So-
flashed, then it might peel up.
Yeah. So the first thing on our agenda is to put on these leaves. And I'm doing that with dictionary pages. So I've already traced on my leaves using some graphite paper. Now I'm going to cut them out with some scissors. I love using paper for this because it kills two birds with one stone, quite literally. So there's our first set of leaves right there. Ta-da! And then I've got one small one down here. Now, for this part, you can use decoupage medium. You can use matte medium. I like using matte medium. I find it gives you a nicer finish. And it has a nice tooth. So there is my other leaf. Right there.
The word flash means it's dry to the touch but hasn't cured to the surface.
Yeah. Matte medium. So I'm using matte medium to put this on. And I'm also using a little bit of water. I have a little spray bomb here. Little mister. And I need my, there we go. I got my fugly brush. So I'm going to put a coat of matte medium on my surface here. The nice part about matte medium is that it doesn't matter if you get it everywhere because it dries completely flat, like matte, so you don't have any shiny spots. So I've got a nice layer of matte medium all over that corner. And I'm going to take my paper and my spray bomb. Now this is just water. And I'm going to mist my paper, both sides, so that it's a little on the flexible side. And I'm going to lay my paper right into where my leaves go.
So,
Like so.
this brewer got an awesome stamp yesterday.
Did she?
It's a 6x6 stamp,
Okay.
and it's a page from Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very cool.
I'm using that for my leaves.
Nice.
That's
That would be
awesome.
cool to do that on a piece of paper. That would be sharp.
What size is your fugly brush?
That mine is the 1 inch.
1 inch and caustic oval.
Yep.
By Dynasty,
Yep.
of course.
So that third leaf, I'm just laying that in like so. Now I'm going to dry this really quick. Now I missed the paper because the paper stretches when it gets wet. And I don't want this to have ripples and bubbles and whatnot in it. So if I were to just put the dry paper on, it has a tendency to buckle as soon as it hits that wet medium. So if you missed the paper, then you have fewer issues like that. The other thing I like to do is take my brayer and seat it. Make sure your brayer puts nice and tight. Oops, rolled it right up. There we go. Just roll it on there nice and snug. I got a little too excited.
Lori Windemeyer is busy today. It's cattle moving day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Got some cows that need to be moved to our other farm. Wow.
That's work.
That is some work, yeah.
That is some work.
I love the dictionary paper. Yeah,
This-
gotta find an old dictionary.
You got to find an old dictionary. I've had this one for years. It traveled with my dad back from Germany in the 1950s. And then it traveled back to Germany with my dad and my mother in the late 1950s. And then when we were kids, again in the 70s, went back to Germany, and that dictionary came with us, and it traveled with me back to Germany for the third, fourth time.
In the 80s.
In the 80s, when you guys were just little.
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Very early 90s.
Yeah. And it's been with me ever since. And as the years have gone by, I've used the pages out of it because I love the look of it. And it aged nicely. It has a nice yellowing patina on the paper. So I put another light coat of that matte medium over top of the paper.
I have an old medical dictionary that I don't use anymore,
That would be cool.
but it may be too graphic. Depends.
You know what? For Halloween stuff, it'd be fabulous.
There you go.
That would be too cool for words. And besides, I'm all about the bones. I like the skeletal stuff. So I'm just drawing this real quick, and then we're going to use a little bit of gesso or white paint, doesn't matter, to fill in this floral. See how that stenciled relief popped up? I love that.
I did 24 of your challenge flowers on gift tags.
Oh, cool.
Lots of fun colors. Oh, we got to see some pictures of that.
Yeah, we need to see some pictures.
Put them on the Facebook page, or Facebook group. Sorry, it's not a page, it's a group.
So yesterday I did something stupid
Oh.
with the business card thing.
Oh.
I got this great new bag with my company logo on it. That bright paint splatter thingy. I had a handbag made with that logo on the front of it, and I was moving things out of my favorite skull purse and putting it into the new one, and there was one of my business cards was on the bottom, and instead of just picking it up and throwing it into the new bag, I had my hands full, so I stuck the business card and held it with my lips. Well, it ended up the business card stuck to that delicate skin on the edge of my lip, and when I went to take the business card out of my mouth,
You took some skin with her.
I took the skin with it, and I bled like a son of a gun.
Challenge flowers? Yes. If you're a member, there's a challenge in the process right now.
Yeah.
There's a
So-
video on what to do and how to do it, and colors are optional, and
Yep.
you can use black and white, you can use
Yep.
all sorts of colors.
So I'm using a nail file to just sand the edge of this to remove that excess paper, because I love how this just gives you such a clean edge. So I'm just sanding it away, and I'm done. So all of that excess paper is now off the edge of my surface. Love it. Now we're going to use just white paint or gesso, either one, to fill in this floral so that we have a fairly opaque base to put everything on. Because this flower is going to be white anyway, so.
What is the name of the group?
If you look at the top of my YouTube channel, there's a join button.
Oh, I think, no, this is from a member.
Oh, okay. It is the Tracy Moreau YT paid membership group on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting in a quick base coat on my orchids here.
I'm back. I hope I didn't miss anything or anyone talking to me. That looks awesome. I think they're talking about what you're making right there.
Yeah. So I'm just using a loose base coat. I'm not worrying too much about perfection in this particular case. It's just to get some nice opaque color on here. So I'm just using warm white for this. You can use gesso, you can use titanium white. It really doesn't matter. It's just white.
Where did you find the big nail file?
Oh, this one?
Oh
I
yeah,
got
where
these
did
at
you
Walmart.
find? You got that at Walmart?
I got that at Walmart. It's an awesome nail file. It's useless for filing your nails, but it's great for sanding the edges.
Well,
of
it depends
things.
on the size of your nails. Have you seen some of the nails that women got? They look like Wolverine.
Did you forget who you were talking to?
Oh,
No.
like
I know, mine.
like 2-3 inches worth of nail. Like, why?
Because it's pretty.
Haven't been admitted to the FB group yet. Please let me in.
Oh yes, you'll be let in.
We gotta do the live first.
Yeah.
Once we're done the live, then she'll go through her.
I go through it at least 2 or 3 times a day to make sure that people get let in properly, but
I'm in. Thank you, Renee. Should you miss the decoupage paper before applying it? Yes.
yeah, I usually just mist it with a little paper or dip it into my water dish. I just get the paper wet before I put it down. I find that the finish in the end is so much better. It stays tight to the surface. You don't get all of those ripples and bubbles and all that crap in there. So
That looks like a black gold. What?
this one is number 4 filbert.
Number 4 filbert, black gold. Those nails are weapons.
These ones aren't too bad. I've had worse.
What kind of prizes are we giving away today?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We have brush sets.
We have brush sets?
We have brush sets. We have a nice set of faux squirrel rounds.
Faux squirrel rounds.
We have a set of fandangos from the black gold. If you paint any of Jelly Bean's Santa Clauses or her gnomes, you're going to want one of those fandangos. So we have those. And I think we have a set of microns too.
Another set of microns.
Yep.
I'm going to have to write all this down. Where's my
I
notepad?
never tell them anything.
Where's my notepad? Okay, so
I
some
always have something for you guys.
faux squirrel rounds.
Yep, we have a nice set of faux squirrel rounds,
Black gold.
fandangos,
Next.
and a set of microns, Dynasty microns. Nice little 3 brush sets.
So just the 3 sets?
Yep.
All right. Wah! Okay. No, they're good. Talons, I keep mine short. They break too easy. Great for sanding wood edges. Who doesn't love winning brushes?
Bunch of painters. Of course we love brushes.
Brush sets, generous. It's thanks to Dynasty.
Yes. Dynasty is a very generous sponsor particularly when it comes to me. They're very good with me. So they make sure that I have lots of goodies for you guys. I don't know if any of you noticed, but the brush guys have a great sale on their website right now.
Make sure you use the promo code Tracy M.
Tracy M. Capital T, capital M, all one word.
How do I prevent brush strokes from being visible?
You know what? A lot of that is in making sure that you've got enough moisture in your paint. So add a little bit of water to it, or a glazing medium. It will help level the paint. I use that Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze when I paint, and that's one of the reasons why, is because it will help level your paint. But I never really worry too much about brush marks, to be perfectly honest.
They add texture.
They do add texture, and I like my texture.
I come from the airbrush world where texture is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Unless you do it purposefully.
Yeah.
Because texture means dimension, and dimension means shadows, and then you're fighting against light.
Yeah.
Which is not good. You don't want to fight against light because light is your enemy when it comes to airbrushing dimensional objects.
Yep.
So, you add texture through layers during airbrushing.
So now I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to put a layer of white on my stem. And that stem comes right down in between these two leaves.
Oh.
So that stem's got to come all the way down.
LD Matt, is there a brush video to watch to see which brushes are best for what? That, I believe, is in the works.
It is.
Something in the future.
Brushes, I think a lot of the time when you're, especially as you're learning to paint and you're developing more, a lot of it is about your preference. What works for you? What feels good in your hand? What responds best to the way you paint? And that comes with time. My rule of thumb when it comes to brushes, buy the best brush that you can afford. And then take care of them. It's quite honestly, you could buy the most expensive brush in the world, and if it's sitting in the water dish for 5 or 6 hours, it's not going to last any longer than a dollar store brush. It has to be properly cared for.
You miss the paper with paper?
I miss the paper with water.
Water. How do you know when to use water or fast drying glaze?
Oh, for me, that's easy. I always use fast dry glaze. I treat it like water when I paint. So instead of using water for thinning my paint, I use the fast dry glaze. Instead of using water to float with, I use fast dry glaze. So I just substitute the fast dry glaze for my water. I keep a clean dish of water on my painting table for everything else, to rinse my brushes, to keep things clean. But if my brush is going to pick up any kind of paint, it goes into that fast dry glaze.
Sorry, the UPS guy or the UPS guy missed his stop. Sometimes the brush I wanted to order was on the truck. I've been looking for years for that special brush that makes everything look great. It's probably a Dynasty brush.
Yep, and it's probably already in your paint bin. I'm a firm believer that if you want to get really good at what you do, you want to get good at it, you have to continuously paint. I paint every day, sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for 5 hours, but I do it every single day. And that's how you improve. So sometimes I'll sit down and paint, but I'm not actually painting anything that's going to be a pattern or a design. I just sit down and paint. Move paint around, play with it, see what it'll do. Grab a different paint, something I've never worked with before, try that. Paint is only wasted if it stays in the bottle or the tube.
Does anyone know where to find Maxine mop brushes?
Maxine's mop?
Yeah, Maxine mop brushes.
Maxine's mops used to be made by Lowell Cornell, if I'm not mistaken. If I believe the brush guys have Maxine's mops on their site, but I don't think that's what they're called. They're under a different name.
I'm waiting till I hopefully go south for the winter to order some brushes. Shipping is so expensive to Canada. Right now it is, yeah.
Yeah. Black gold brushes, if you're in Canada, you can get them from stockade.ca.
What is that clicking sound? Oh.
It's him playing with a pen.
Sorry. Habit.
A bad one.
If I have a pen in my hand, I feel
Click,
like
click, click,
I
click,
have
click.
to click it.
So I've got my white gesso or white paint down on this one. So now we're going to start adding some color to these leaves. Now, I did that with a little bit of green gold. I've got lots on my palette, and I'm going to thin with a little bit of Joe Sonia's. I have my little fat jar of Joe Sonia,
Oh,
fast dry glaze.
somebody just got their order from CD Wood. Cover Distributing. Happy,
They've
happy,
got a
joy,
sale
joy.
on this week too. Yeah, happy, happy, joy, joy. Love it.
Do you miss college paper? Oh, college.
Collage.
Collage paper. Well,
Are you okay?
yeah, I'm fine. I think I need more coffee.
So I'm just putting a wash of that green gold. I've just thinned it out with a little bit of fast dry glaze. And I'm going right over the paper. And just staying inside the confines of that paper.
Yes, she wets the collage paper. You can wet the collage paper before you put it down.
Yeah. It just keeps it from doing nasty things.
Yeah, and buckle and fold and
Get bubbles and things like that underneath it. And then when it dries nice and flat. So I just got that green gold on there. Love this color. Now I'm going to use a little bit of sap green for my shading. If you don't have the sap green, you can use the plantation pine.
that green gold is gorgeous.
I love green gold.
I love the fast drying glaze. They're actually taking your recommendations.
That fast dry glaze will make your life so much simpler. It's
No more water or sponge.
great
Can
for
you
floating.
can you overdo it with the fast drying glaze?
Yeah, just like you can overdo it with water.
Yeah.
But it does make it a whole lot easier to control your paint.
Yeah.
So into your fast dry blend.
In my
Now-
world, that would have been thinner.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to dry this real quick. Now, in the original piece, I had this leaf in behind that one. Now it's in front, so I'm going to have to make a little adjustment in where I put my shading, but that's okay. So I'm going to shade right down the center vein of that leaf, go point to point, just like that. And then I've got that space around the edge of the leaf. I'm going to shade there. And I'm going to come from down there all the way up to that point, the tip of that leaf. Like so.
Okay, Sylvie Miller. I have membership and I can't see the paintbrush beside my name. Wonder if it's something to do with changing my Gmail account. Most likely.
Most likely, yeah.
If you change your Gmail account, it changes everything.
So I've shaded my leaves with that. I'm using the sap green, but if you're using the plantation pine, same thing applies. Nice big float, give you a nice shadow all the way to the point. And then don't forget to separate those leaves.
Can you use the sponge trick with the fast drying glaze?
Yes, you can.
Yes. There you go.
Just make sure to rinse your sponge.
Oh. Lori C. Who is the fast drying glaze from? Joe Sonia.
It's a Joe Sonia product.
Oh, Julie Crosby already answered that.
Yeah.
And you can get it at Stockade.
Yes, Stockade has it available. Any place that Joe Sonia paints are sold. If you're out west, Delta Art Supply, they will have it. Now I want to highlight color on this leaf, so I'm going to take a little of that green gold and I'm just going to add a little bit of the white to it. And I'm going to come down that opposite that shadow. Just like that. Weak float, doesn't need to be too strong. I just want to brighten it a little bit. Like so. And now we're going to do those stems. So again, I'm coming back to that green gold. Love this color. And I'm going right over that white with a coat of the green gold. Comme ça. And we're going to do this piece here too. That little bit of white gives you the opacity so that the color that you put on, that green gold, isn't affected by all of those colors underneath. So now we have the contrast that we need.
I'm going to zoom in a bit so don't move too much. So they can see what's going on.
This is just a fun, easy, as I said, don't worry about perfection for this. We just want a single coat. But that little bit of white is what makes all the difference. And you know that that white was not completely opaque. It was just enough to bury some of that color, underlying color, so that when I go over it with this green gold, that color has enough of a base that I get great coverage. And you can see that color, more importantly. Love it. So there is all of our greenery done in there. We're going to give that a second to dry. We are going to go back into this orchid here with another coat of white because I want these a little bit more opaque. So this is where you can be just a little more fastidious about putting that base color in. But again, I'm not too worried about getting it perfect. We're not worried about that. I just want a little better coverage. That's all. And I just realized my brush was dirty. That's all right. Such a great color. So I like the contrast that you get with this punch of color, all of that vibrancy. I always think that that makes it so much more interesting. So just wanted to get a little more opaque. These are pretty easy orchids to paint. We're not, like I said, we're not worrying about, high degree of realism here. This is mixed media. Now, something that I think would be super cool would be to trace that floral onto, say, a pretty patterned white scrapbook paper and then use that as your base. I think that would be really pretty. Essentially just doing the flowers the same way we did the leaves and then adding all of your colors after the fact. I think that that would look awesome. Perhaps you want to reverse the process and just use no text or no pattern in the background. Just go with those bright colors and then have the text and the pattern in the petals of the flowers. That would be cool too. Using, stamps on a piece of paper and then decoupage the paper on in the shape of the flower. I think that would be a really cool way to do it too. So there's tons of ways you could do this that would completely make it your own. And it would be fun. I noticed the other day I was doing some trend research for some stuff for decor, and one of the things that popped up was collage. Collage has been very popular recently. It's been showing up in a lot of different areas. So obviously collage papers are too, and so it occurred to me when I was getting ready for today that that would be such a cool way to do this, to go with an interesting stamped or plain simple background and then incorporate the collage as the flowers. I think that that would just be amazing. So much fun.
I have green gold in the Liquitex and Deco Art. Two completely different colors.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
I used Liquitex when I was at school, and it was, for me, it's very opaque. Their paints are very opaque, and I've never been keen on how they dry, but that's a personal thing. That has nothing to do with the quality of their products, because Liquitex does make a beautiful quality paint. I actually have some of their product in my cabinet, but with fluid acrylic, the Americana or the Deckwort Media acrylics, they have very quickly become my favorite fluid acrylic. I did have some golden, and I actually prefer the Deckwort brand to golden. The pigmentation is fabulous. Okay, I think that's enough. Just needed it a little more opaque, that's all. But that's okay. I've still got elements peeking through. I'm okay with that. So we're going to start this by shading. You're chuckling at something. What's going on?
It's not Alzheimer's, it's old timers.
Oh.
I know it probably has been said before many times, but I have old timers.
Uh-huh.
Where do I get the fast drying glaze from?
Fast drying glaze, you can get it at josonia.com. You can also get it from Dick Blick.
Stockade.
Stockade has it here in Canada. Country Bear has it. Delta Arts has it. There's a variety of places you can get it. But josonia.com is always a good choice.
Your Flutterby is now covered. Could you wait and put it on top of the orchid instead?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As I said, you're not relegated to doing everything at one time. I mean, if I wanted to, I could not do stamping at all, do everything, and then do the stamping over top of it towards the end or in bits and pieces. When you do it and how you do it and where you put it is entirely up to you. That's the fun part about doing mixed media, is that there's really no rules. And what you get is what you get. So it's fun, as long as you keep in mind the limitations of the products you're using.
What about Mod Podge? Mod Podge?
Mod Podge?
Mod Podge?
Mod Podge. Mod Podge.
Mod Podge.
Yep.
What about it?
Yeah, it's yes, you can use Mod Podge. Just use their matte version.
Ah.
That's what I will recommend.
Matte Mod Podge.
Yeah. Just like you can use the Deckwort Decoupage, but just make sure you use the matte version. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting against the shiny stuff, and that's no fun. So I'm just shading a little bit in a couple of areas so that stem jumps forward a little.
Gotta be careful with the spam, though. You've said it 3 times.
Stan?
No. What about Mod Podge? What about Mod Podge? What about Mod Podge?
Yep. It's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. The only issue with that, it is classified as spamming, and spamming can get you kicked.
Yeah.
And we don't want to kick people, but we will do it if we have to.
Yeah.
So. I know you want your question answered.
Yeah.
And we try. If we miss it, sorry.
Yeah. So, I'm going to darken this bit down here a little. There we go.
Can't wait to try this one. We'll probably start this afternoon.
It's an easy one to paint, and it's a lot of fun.
Renee will put you in timeout. Actually, Linda Safranco, Jessica Killer, and anybody that has a blue name and a wrench beside their name can probably put you in timeout too.
Yep.
Just saying. We're slowly making an army.
Building an army.
We're building an army.
Moreau the world. So I've thinned out a little bit of cobalt teal hue, and that's what I'm going to shade this orchid with. So I'm going to go underneath in here, I'm just separating all of these elements on this orchid with a float of that cobalt teal hue. Neatness doesn't count. We're not looking for perfection. I just want to separate these elements. I'm floating using a little bit of that Jo Sonja Fast Dry Glaze, and then I've just tipped into a little of that cobalt teal and then blend it out. Now, there are lines in these leaves right here. Leaves. Here we go again. Bunny leaves. Petals. Hello.
Bunny leaves?
I don't know, what is it with the bunny leaves, petals? Jeez Louise.
What is it? Where? I lost my spot. Lost my spot.
Oh my gosh. I gotta take that off because I messed that up.
I lost my spot. Where am I?
Okay.
All I can say is Linda Morgan is the proud owner of some faux squirrel rounds.
Right on. Linda Morgan, you've won our first prize of the day.
You gotta go to tracymoreau.net, click the little speech bubble at the bottom right hand corner, and fill out the appropriate information.
Yep.
And send us your shipping address. And we'll ship you some
Brand new faux squirrel rounds.
faux squirrel round brushes.
So I'm just putting in a little shadow down the center vein of those petals. I keep wanting to call them leaves. Just like that. So there we've got
Oh, she's happy.
some shape to our petals. I like a little bit at the bottom of this one too. I just realized something. Honest to God.
What?
Some days.
Did you put your socks over your shoes today?
No.
Is it one of those days?
It's one of those days.
Okay.
I realized, like, what did I do to that petal in the back?
I don't know, but that camera's having a knit fit.
Oh, it's all that white.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, really? I was just like, what the heck? So I've got all my shading in. That's just a little bit of that blue. And that's our shading color. Ooh. And we are going to use, you guessed it, asphaltum. Because I can.
Could you say that a little louder? I don't think the microphone picked it up.
Asphaltum.
That's really quiet.
Asphaltum.
Asphaltum.
So,
The brown color.
the brown color. Yep. So I use asphaltum a lot. I know everybody's going derp. Asphaltum is just that color for me.
It
Some
works.
people use burnt umber, others use Payne's Gray. For me, it's asphaltum. I use asphaltum for everything.
Payne's gray. Why would you use a gray?
Payne's Gray, it's a neutralizing color. So I'm using a little bit of asphaltum. Now I've thinned it out a lot for this. And I'm going right over all of that blue. Ta-da! So
Holy
it's nice
crap.
and weak.
What comment? What comment? Apparently I made Jessica kill her and spit her coffee across the room. What did I say?
He wants to know so he can repeat the process.
You you just blew my earphones off? What? What?
Oh, no. Could you say that a little louder?
I'm not getting... What did I say that got people all riled up? I'm confused.
The one thing I know about you, babe, is that it doesn't take much.
I can say something and it may not be entertaining to me or funny to me, and it'll make an entire room laugh, and I don't have a clue why it's funny. I don't understand what. Holy crap, Renee, I almost spit my water across the room with that sick comment. What sick comment? What did I say?
So I've used a little of that asphaltum around there. Now I like to see a little bit of pink in my orchids.
Socks over your shoes.
Oh, socks over my shoes.
Okay.
I'm going to use a little bit of pink in mine. Ooh, cactus flower.
Oh,
Pretty
and
color.
that was... I didn't say asphaltum. I just said that brown color.
Yeah, I said asphaltum.
She said it really loud because she decided to take her microphone and...
Well, you said it wasn't loud enough. So I'm using a little bit of cactus flower. You could use any pink, any red. I wanted a little pink in here. So I'm just going to put a little blush of pink on my petals.
The socks over her shoes. My phone spells out its own words. I bet it didn't say socks over her shoes.
No. Chances are. Oh my gosh, I missed another spot. Hello. So I need to put a little line on my orchids. There we go. Now that I have all my shading in place, I'm using that pink just to add a little blush to a couple of the petals because to me they were just looking a little flat and lifeless. So I just thought a little bit of pink in some of these petals would be justified. And it's just a little, I'm not using a ton. So now I'm going to switch to some titanium white because I want a really bright highlight for these. Anybody figure a name out for my Nomi here? So a little bit of titanium white. This is going to be my highlight color on my orchids.
Oh, I'm clicking a pen again. Sorry.
Start knocking on doors 3 times in a row, you're in trouble.
Keith heard it in the other room. Oh, they're talking about you yelling asphaltum.
Oh, I didn't yell. So I'm just putting a highlight of titanium white on the tops and edges of my orchids. Easy peasy.
It sounded a wee bit scary.
Oops.
That was Tracy? It sounded like Renee. No, that was her.
So there's what that little highlight of the titanium white does for this. It just pops that shading a little and it shows off the shape and the color of our orchids. And I like to pull a little bit of the colors that's in the background into this greenery down here. So I'm going to go with a little bit of that quinacridone violet. I want to put a little blush of color on these little pods down towards the bottom, just like so. And I want a little bit of that in the stem as well.
What gnome?
My gnome, my Nomi. This little fella needs a name.
So far, Beelzebub.
Beelzebub. What was it somebody posted on my Facebook page? Pablo Picasso.
Pablo Picasso?
Picasso.
Picasso.
I thought it was so cute. But isn't he adorable? He is too stinking cute. So he's going to be occupying some space in my studio from now on.
Renee, you should travel with your mom. It's been talked about.
Yeah. It has.
And once some COVID stuff gets lifted and restrictions start getting eased, and she has to start traveling and doing shows again, you might be seeing some lives happening on location.
Yeah.
I may or may not be there. Most likely may be there.
This is him trying not to commit. He's a flat squirrel.
I'm a flat squirrel.
So I'm just using a little highlight in a few spots on these pods. Nothing too
Ooh.
perfect.
Camera's freezing up.
Oh no.
There it goes. It's
we
just
go.
trying to pick which color to balance off of.
Confusing it. That's what I'm doing. It's a little color happy.
It is. Got a lot of colors.
Yep.
Are you going to teach in Vegas in 22?
I am not. I did not submit to Vegas this year. That doesn't mean that I won't be there.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay, so now we have to busy ourselves with this center portion in here. I think I don't know what pink I used offhand. I'm going to grab some dragon fruit because I figure that that'll do the trick. It's close enough for rock and roll.
You're the best kind of funny. You're not by not realizing what you say, very unassuming and authentic. Sure.
Jeez. For the love of God, don't encourage him.
I need one of those. I think they're talking about your gnome.
Isn't he cute?
How
My
about
girlfriend
deco
Karen's.
artist?
Oh, that's kind of cute.
My friend Jessica made him for Tracy. Aw.
He is. He's stinking cute. Love him. So I just took a little bit of dragon fruit and I'm painting in that section here on this orchid with that dragon fruit.
Renee can do the heavy schlepping.
Schlepping. Yeah.
What is schlepping?
Hauling stuff.
And set up.
There's there's usually lots of schlepping to do.
Okay. Tell your friend Karen that they did a great job on the gnome.
Yeah, he is. He's adorable.
I
So-
have never heard that saying, flat squirrel.
Yeah, I know. Indecisive. Flat
Yeah.
squirrels.
Yeah. Be decisive. There's too many flat squirrels.
Yeah, don't be a flat squirrel.
Don't be a flat squirrel. Be decisive.
So I'm just painting in that little portion on this orchid with some dragon fruit.
Vincent Von Gnome.
That's kind of cute, actually.
Pico. Short for Picasso. Vincent Van Gnome.
Vincent Van Gnome. And there's a little triangle portion in the center of this flower that needs to be yellow. Doesn't want to be, it needs to be. So I'm just going to paint in it. It's kind of heart-shaped. Right there. With that diarrhea yellow.
Nomatello. They're really going with the artists.
They're
here.
having fun with it.
I still like Beelzebub.
Yep, Beelzebub. But we already have a Bob.
The Bahama Blue artist.
Isn't it interesting that he is Bahama Blue?
Is he?
Yeah, pretty close.
Oh, wow. I think you could both do painting shows during the day and comedy routines at night in Vegas or anywhere. Well, it depends.
Yeah, depends on how badly he needs bail money.
Bail money. I try to keep myself very PG-13-ish.
Ish. Sometimes he succeeds. Read the room, bud.
Yeah, you gotta read the room. And sometimes I just say, F the room. This is funny to me. I want to laugh.
Yep. So I'm going to shade the inside of these flowers with a little bit of that primary magenta.
Nomi Van Gogh.
And then I changed my mind because, you know, it's my prerogative. I've just taken a little bit of that quinacridone violet, and I'm just shading the inside of those flowers with a little bit of that quin violet. And again, neatness doesn't really count for this. We're not looking for perfection. It's just to change the look of it. So there, the centers are shaded. I'm going to pull a little bit of that orange, and I'm going to shade the yellow with just a little bit of that orange. I'm going to dry this. Now we have to shade our whole piece.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to, what, uh-oh. Don't say uh-oh. Did the camera tank?
No, the camera didn't tank. It's just
okay. Don't scare me like that.
broadcasting power.
So we need to shade in behind these orchids. I'm going to do that with some asphaltum. I know you're absolutely flabbergasted by that. So, but I've thinned this color out quite a bit. You don't want it full strength because it is a fairly dark brown. So I'm just going to shade underneath this floral.
Nomit? Nomit?
Nomad.
Okay, Renee and I got in trouble for CRS? Question mark?
What's CRS?
I don't know.
So I am just shading underneath my flowers with a float of that thinned asphaltum. I don't want it too dark, but I do want to separate and pull that floral forward. So it's always surprising to me how quickly that happens just by putting that little shadow out there. But we also want to pop one in here because this one plays double duty. It defines the edge of that orchid nicely, and it gives it a little more contrast so that it pops forward, so it jumps towards you. If it gets too dark, then it looks like a hard outline. But if you keep it fairly weak and fairly narrow so that it just that darker value is right up against that flower, then you get that contrast. And it's a subtle shift. It doesn't look like a bar around it. It doesn't look too heavy-handed, but it helps define those flowers really nicely. So there we go. So it doesn't look like a big stripe around it. I'm going to do the same thing underneath that stem. I'm going to pull a little color in here. So again, it pops that stem forward, which is what we want. And I love what asphaltum does for these colors. It subdues them just a little bit. It's not in your face or over the top. And then we're going to take that same color, go all the way around the outside edge. Are they having fun?
Oh, they're having a blast. Apparently CRS is abbreviated for can't remember.
Shit. Okay. Shoot. Never mind.
I got her to say it.
So there's that little float of asphaltum all the way around the outside edge. Don't be afraid. Take it right up onto those leaves. Just like that. It's going to tone everything. Look at that. Love it.
A bad case of CRS. Yep.
Yeah.
I got it now. Could you please post again on how to join the paid group? Click the join button on the channel. That's it. Hopefully, if you're on desktop, you just go to the channel. It'll say join or subscribe. If you're already subscribed, subscribe will be grayed out, and it'll be a blue join button.
Yep.
You click that, follow the prompts.
Yay!
How do you access the paid group? You join the paid group. Click the join button on the channel. I don't know what it looks like on desktop because I have multiple streams going on here.
So we are just about ready
Oh,
for this next step. I love this next part because this is where you get to have a little bit of, I don't know, I just find this part really relaxing because you notice I'm not really worried too much about making sure there's a lot of painted detail. This is why, because I go around and I like to sketch mine in like so. So I'm just using my black gel pen. You guys know that I use this thing all the time. And it's just a sketchy line. It doesn't matter if it's accurate. It really doesn't. It's just a sketchy line that outlines everything. It doesn't matter if it's on the background. Doesn't matter if it's on the flower. It's just a sketchy outline. Doesn't even have to be straight. But I outline everything with it. So neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. I love that I can work over top of the fluid acrylics with this.
Oh,
I like the sketchy lines.
I just wanted to shout out a big thank you for my prize package. It was the best thing that happened to me in the last 2 weeks. I missed the big event due to a fractured ankle.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's Kathy Rain.
Oh my, Kathy, I hope you heal up soon. But in the meantime, make sure you keep that thing elevated. Make sure hubby brings you all the goodies that you need.
And Tuesday, a fractured metatarsal.
Ouch.
Ouch. Fun.
Not so much. Goodness. I'm tearing the skin off my lips and she's breaking bones. That's not good.
I'm in the group and subscribed, but there's nothing else. Give me 1 second. Let's see what's going on there. Says she's a member.
Yep.
Oh, it depends if I believe it is the weekend. Certain payment methods won't go through until Monday morning.
Yeah. Particularly if you've used a debit card, I think.
Yeah, so if you used like a Visa debit card, those won't get activated until Monday.
Yeah. So,
Just because they follow the bank rules.
yeah. If you've used PayPal or credit card, it should be instant.
Yeah, if you use PayPal or a credit card, it should be instant. But if you used like a Visa debit or a MasterCard debit,
Yeah.
then those take...
Yeah. It takes until it clears the bank.
Yeah.
So I'm just using my gel pen to do my outlining. The fun part about this, using this gel pen, is that you can do things like this. And I like doing this, is sneaking little sayings in. So I just wrote a little note along the vein of this leaf that says bloom where you're planted. So I like that this pen works so well over top of all of this stuff. So now I have all of my outlining done, and it's just loose and sketchy. I don't worry about it being perfect. It doesn't matter. It's just, it's fun. So leaves are done. The flowers are base coated, shaded, highlighted. I've got a little color on there. Again, very relaxed. We're not worrying about getting perfect, absolutely minute and spot on floating. It doesn't matter. This is mixed media. You're supposed to have some fun with it. So now I want to do a little more decoupage. In the pattern is the word orchidea. It's just orchid written in Latin. And I stamped it onto the original line drawing with one of those little mini stamps, and then so I put it in the pattern. I told Renee to go dive into my drawer full of edging scissors, and this is the one that he came up with.
Sure.
So
We played lottery.
Yeah, we just played lottery with it. And I'm going to cut it out. Doesn't need to be straight, doesn't need to even be pretty. It can just be whatever. Ooh.
Somebody baked a rhubarb pie.
Oh, yum.
Yum.
Strawberry rhubarb.
Louise Long.
Louise is in Ontario.
Strawberry rhubarb. Oh,
Yum.
yum.
So I've got this. I rather like the bright white on there. I'm just trying to decide on placement. The fun part about this is that you could do this anywhere. If you wanted it on top of the leaves, you can put it there. If you wanted it over here, up in the corner, wherever you want it. I want it somewhere in here. So I'm going to use my matte medium for this. Dig out my brush. A little bit of matte medium. I'm just going to brush a little bit right here. Neatness doesn't count. And I'm going to get this paper wet. So I just dipped it into my water dish. And I'm going to lay that on there. And again, that will work. Now I'm using a brush to smooth out this paper a little bit. Again, because it was wet, it's going to stretch, and when it dries, I'm going to get that nice tight finish. So I'm going to dry this really quickly. And then we're going to talk about that fun edge on this, because there's a couple of different ways we can do this edging. So I just want to dry this paper real fast, so I can put a coat of matte medium over top of it so it's in there nice and tight. There we go. And a little bit of matte medium on this. I'm going to seal that puppy in there nice and tight so it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
And we'll dry that. This is just a fun way to throw together a floral. You could do this with any line drawing. So if you've got line drawings from other designers and whatnot, try doing something like this, using a bunch of different mixed media techniques for the background, the foreground, and change it up a little bit. You know, just play with it, see what you can do with it. Well, let's face it, the design is solid. What makes it is all of the color and all of the textures that you add to it. So here we go.
Ouch. I baked my arm on top of the stove on Memorial Day.
Ow.
2nd degree burn.
Ow. Been there.
Yep.
So this is nice and dry. Now let's talk about doing those edges. There's a couple of different ways we can do that. One of my favorite ways is one that I got learned from Chris Hoy, because she did this the first time I saw her do this. I went, oh, I love that, because I just thought it created such a neat edge, which is sort of this broken or chipped paint effect, and it's really effective and it's really easy to do. And then I have another little technique that I like to use on things like this, and that's using a stamp pad. So this is how I do the edges of this. You can use a stamp pad just by laying it flat and just rubbing the edges. And you can get more if it lays more flat and less just by tipping it up. So you have control over this. And I really like how this black edge looks on this type of thing. And you can saw back and forth with just the tip and get a completely different look out of it.
She uses how do I put this?
What?
The question is, what stencil brushes do you use? She uses Dynasty. I know that.
I use Dynasty stencil brushes. My favorite. Okay.
I got it.
You got it?
I didn't.
He had a little accident. Did you drown my keyboard again?
No. I got a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I think I drowned myself more.
Okay. He was juggling his coffee cup.
Yeah.
So, let's go back to the stencil brushes here.
I think I drowned my phone though. That's done good.
So, these are the ones that I use the most. This is a Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush. This is a 1 1/4 inch. This is for a larger stencil, obviously, because of the size of the head. But these are a synthetic, and I use these ones all the time because I can use them with anything. Oils, acrylics, I can use them on all sorts of things. And they produce a really nice, smooth finish. If I'm working on textured surfaces, I work with my textured stencil brushes. Those are the ones that have the little extra bits that stick up in the center. Those are a natural hairbrush, and I like using those with acrylics and with oils as well. But those ones I use almost exclusively for things like fabric or for rough textured surfaces, or if I'm using a lot of texture mediums, because they will get the paint into those textured areas. But overall, these are my absolute favorite stencil brushes because I can use them on so many different things, and you can't kill these. These are a synthetic, so they are very durable, they're very strong, and they will last a very, very long time with even moderate care. These are a fantastic investment to make. If you're looking to buy a good stencil brush, this is the one. It's a Dynasty Stencil Pro. Just got to look for that bright red handle. The brush guys have these on their website, and if you're out shopping for stencil brushes, use your coupon code Tracy, capital T, Racy, capital M, all one word, and then you'll get an extra discount. Just because I sent you. So I want to finish this edge because I really like the way this looks. And I just, watching Renee juggle his coffee cup there. So I get a little bit on there. I like that I can, put as much or as little as I want on here. So I have a little bit of control. So the other method that you can use is by loading up a round brush with black paint and then literally just rolling it along the edge. So if I wanted to get this type of look, this is how I would do it. You load up a good round brush. I'm using a number 3. Any size will do. Just remember, the bigger the brush, the bigger the texture. So once it's loaded with paint, you literally just roll it along the surface and push and pull at the same time. Just roll it. And it will lay paint in sort of in this irregular pattern. Works really, really well. And you can do the same thing on this. So if I wanted to put a bit more of a chipped paint look on this, I would do that with a round brush. Cleaning crews here. So I'm going to just load up a round brush. And again, I'm just going to push and pull it along the edge like so. Just like that.
Yeah, let's not do that. What the hell did I do?
So a little push and pull, and you can see it's created a nice little texture along there. And it resembles broken paint or chipped paint.
I didn't use any sugar in my coffee.
And I'm going to do the same thing along the bottom here. So you can use either that stamp pad method or you could use this rolling brush method. And I like pushing and pulling because it'll create, chips or chunks out of the paint. Just keep your paint nice and thin so that it will come off the brush easily. Just like that. I don't know, I think that this broken or rustic type finish on the edges of things like this just showcase the colors. It provides a little contrast at the edge, and so it showcases the colors really nicely. So all of that color really pops off, and it creates a little visual texture at the same time. So that's as difficult as that is. So the last thing we're going to do to this is to do some stenciling over top of it. Now I used the Harlequin, that small Harlequin stencil for this one. There's nothing in the rule books that says you actually have to use Harlequin. I'm going to dry this paint. you can use whatever you want. So I'm thinking I'm going to switch it to a nice big polka dot because I do like polka dots. He's got coffee everywhere. You're gonna...
I'm a little behind because I had to pause, unexpected interrupting. My question is, when painting and drawing for self, do you work on a flat surface or propped up?
Both.
But
When I'm drawing, I work on an angled surface. Painting, it usually ends up in my lap, or I end up holding it like this so that it's at a bit of an angle. I very rarely work with anything flat on the surface. I do when we're on camera because we're on camera and this is the easiest way for the camera to see it. So, but when I'm working myself, it's usually sitting up like this. I have my hand underneath it, or I will use my drawing table. My husband built me a beautiful adjustable one so that I can draw on that. I have a light table that's a drawing table, and it also sits at an angle. So I find it more comfortable working that way. It does the trick.
I had to put on fresh clothes.
Okay. This wearing his coffee.
oh yeah, just eye center flying.
So I'm going to grab a
Poor
stencil.
coffee is everywhere.
I'm thinking it's going to be polka dots.
Polka dots.
I like polka dots.
I love the way you use the stamp brush. I have to use the round brush technique that you showed us.
Oh, the stamp.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to use, this is a 3/8 polka dot. Now I used a 1/2-inch diamond pattern for this one in the Harlequin. I really like Harlequin. It's one of my favorite designs, but I think in this case we're going to go with some polka dots because I'm
Rotating
feeling polka
easel
dotish
works
today.
well too. Rotating easel?
Yes, I've seen those. They're really cool.
Renee wet himself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with coffee.
So I'm just loading up my stencil brush with a little bit of warm white, and I'm going to blot it on some paper towel because I think I've got way too much paint in. And I'm going to put on some polka dots. Now, I don't want them fully opaque and I don't want them complete. So if I only hit one side, that's okay. So that I get this. Ooh, I like it. I'm liking the polka dots today. So I'm thinking I'm going to put a couple in here too. I'm just keeping them light. I'm not using a lot of color. I don't want them opaque. I just want a little bit of pattern back there. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I think I have enough paint in that brush. Oh yeah, lots. So they're not fully opaque, and they're somewhat incomplete in places. I just find that more interesting. So there we go. I've got my polka dots in the background.
So we have the winner of the Black Gold Fandango, Darlene Cartmel.
Nice, Darlene. Don't forget to go to the website, click on the little speech bubble on the front page in the lower right-hand corner. Click on that, send us an email with your shipping information so that we can get your brushes out to you as soon as possible. So there we go. We've got our polka dots in place, and I think we need to do one more thing, and I think that's going to be overstamping with a smaller stamp because I like these itty-bitty ones.
I'm going to zoom in. Woof. Zoomed in too much. There we go.
So, oh, can I get them out of there? Holy, they were in there pretty tight. So, ooh, aw. Ooh, aw. C H
Cartmel.
I. Where's the D? Did I lose the D? There's the D. And an S. Okay.
And I have a winner for the microns as well.
Ooh, okay. Enlighten us.
Molinian?
Mollian.
Mollian. Stocks. Mollian Stocks. If you're watching, head over to tracymoreau.net. Find that little speech bubble in the bottom right-hand corner on the front page. Fill out the appropriate information and send us your shipping address. That took one breath.
I'm just printing the word orchids on this one more time. O-R. See? Where's the H?
Orchids.
Orchids. Yeah, orchids. I. Where's the I? There's the I.
Molinian.
Really?
I'm sorry. Molinian. From the planet Molly.
So I like that I can use these tiny little stamps to detail things. So I've done it in a lot of my teacup designs where I use these tiny little stamps to write things on the tags instead of just, trying to stencil something in there or to write something in and not being happy with it. I really like that these are, less than perfect. I just think that it makes them more interesting. There's no, I knew there was another one there somewhere. So you can use that word orchids all over this thing if you want to, because that's what the subject is. It's about the orchids. So it's just simple. You can either roll out a little paint on your palette and stamp that way, or you can use the Stays On stamp pad. But these little stamp sets are inexpensive. You can usually get them in those little dollar bins at Target has them from time to time in there, and Joann's has them in their bargain section. Michael's has them all the time in those towards the checkouts. They have those big bins with all these inexpensive craft items. So I go in there and I pilfer through them until I find something interesting. There's always something interesting in there, and it's an inexpensive way to add to your arsenal.
I hope this is water.
Yes, it is.
Okay. That would have sucked.
Yeah, it's like you trying to clean windows with spray bleach.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I used, is those little fun little stamp sets. You can get them almost anywhere.
But were they clean?
They were clean. They were downright sterile.
So
that's what I like to add little bits, little words here and there. And then last but not least, I like to hit this with a little bit of spatter. So out comes the fugly brush, because that's going to happen.
there we go.
And I'm going to use a little asphaltum, I think, for this. I don't want to use anything too stark. And I use this, the old toothbrush method to do this. Ta-da!
It's good.
There we go. I just did my nails this morning and I made a mess already. They're toast.
Thank you, Tracy, Renee, and Bob for such a fun class.
So I'm going to dry this real quick.
Oh, I'm glad we made you smile there, Robin.
So, and on a couple of notes, if you're looking for stamps, we still have the grunge stamps and the vintage note are in stock. We also have, a couple of the larger 6x6 stamps in. We got a bunch of those, and the postage butterfly. We have all of the bumblebee stamps are in stock.
Yep.
And if there's something that you're looking for and you can't find it on my site, then Deb Antonick's site, paintingwithdeb.com, she is a stockist for Stampenda Stamps, so she's got lots to choose from on hers. And I think she's actually got a sale going on a few things over on her site too, patterns and whatnot, so it's always a good idea to check that out. If you're looking for this Heat It tool, the craft tool, that really quiet little drying tool that I use all the time, Sandy McTeer on sandymcteerdesigns.com has them in stock. So that's where you want to go to get one of those.
Do you splatter every project?
I have a tendency to. I do love spatter on certain things, not on everything.
It's
but
a
on
good
certain
design
things.
element.
And it is a fun design element. So that is it. That is our mixed media orchids piece. It's fun. I mean, I change it up even when I'm doing it. I change it up and add stuff and take stuff out and use a variety of different techniques. It's always fun. Makes for an interesting piece. And you switching cameras again?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one.
That one right there.
Yeah. That one.
I've been directed. So that's it for today. We banged out a mixed media orchids today. My tang got tangled. We were going to do the ornament, but we just got too busy and having too much fun.
Too much fun.
So pattern for this is up on the website, and there's a few other things that use the same technique. There's a few tea patterns that are up there that use the same techniques for the background and using stamping and stencils. And I know I use them a lot, and I have a lot of fun with them. And I try to add something different each time that I teach some of this so that you get something more out of it. If you are not a member of the channel, please join us. We have a lot of fun, and we've got a lot coming up.
Yeah.
So hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe. If you'd like to join our paid membership group, just hit the join button and come and play. We've got lots going on. Going to have lots more coming up too.
Got some challenges.
And the challenges are fun, I hope. As long as I don't have people crying in the wings, we're
The whole purpose of the challenge is to get you guys being creative.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to learn something, to
Yep.
learn a new skill out of it. So, as far as that goes, my website is tracymoreau.net. If you're looking for stamps or stencils or some inspiration, remember we've got tons of free educational material on the website for the color of the week and for our Deco Art Lives. There's also conversion charts and color mixing charts on there, so you're welcome to download any and all of that material at your leisure. And what else is on the website? My newest patterns are up. Newest
Ish.
designs are up there.
Ish.
We got a couple more. Got to go up sometime this week. And what else?
Zoom classes.
Too long a list right now.
Okay.
On the website, you'll notice up on the little bar, there's right at the top of the page, there is always a little coupon code up there. So if you're placing an order, don't forget, use your coupon code. Gives you a little extra off of that. And as always, thank you so much for joining me and Renee here every
Hi.
Saturday. We have a lot of fun doing this, and really hope that you enjoy it too. All right, guys, we will see you again next Saturday. We've got a fun class planned for you then. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.